Hey, gentlemen and ladies, depending where you're tuning in for this. I'm sorry I've been a little lax this last week because still kind of onboarding everyone into the new Foundry platform. And look at this, I'm already having trouble streaming to my destination. So anyway, I'm experimenting, practicing, trying to figure out how to stream into Workplace versus Facebook. But for now, I'll be streaming into our Warrior Acceleration group for the next couple of weeks, and encourage the rest of you to join us for a stupid low price. Let me see. I'm actually going to pull up the accelerator now. So this is our group. It looks like, thankfully, I'm really happy to see. Where is the? It's not going to show me what I want to see. Oh, well, Steve Chu's in here. Steven Bass. I'm pretty sure that we got Todd and Brandon and who else? Lachlan on board. The one person I'm waiting to hear back from is Ray. So Ray McDonald, if you can, I don't really have a great way to get in touch with you. I tried emailing you. I've tried adding you on Facebook, and I don't think we're connected yet. So anyhow, I'm sure when you get the chance, we'll connect with you. But you've been sent an invitation from workplace.com or Meta for this platform, but just make sure you look for that and or follow up with me. Um, there's a few things that I've dropped in here this week, and if you guys go back in the archives, there's tons in this Foundry Accelerator group. There are a few other groups within our Workplace platform, which some of you, it may or may not make sense, but I'll add you, depending what makes sense. But let me see if I think Steve, thanks, brother. I saw you posted something in here. So I have yet to get a chance to actually look at this, but I just, first of all, just glad you're in here. Glad you're getting active. You've got your profile photo, and you've made your first contribution, at least here with a live video. So great to see that. I do just want to encourage all of you guys. Feel free, if you click the home button here, and it'll show you your groups. Go to Foundry Accelerator, and you can do it on your own profile. But I really highly encourage you guys do it here in the Accelerator group. And if you set up a live here, or drop a video, or write your post, share a stack, that sort of thing. And that way everyone will see it. But yes, I will be sharing a sequence of videos with you guys in here this week, just to kind of make sure everybody gets on the same page and update you about what I've been working on with the trainer, like Warrior Trainer certification program, ClickFunnels 2.0 certification, etc. But again, thank you all. Like we were scheduled last weekend. I was going to kick this off last Saturday, 3 p.m. Excuse me, for just a little roundtable, kind of an orientation and meet and greet, and see where everybody's at in business in particular. But then Brandon reminded me it was our friend Alex Hormozy's big book launch last Saturday. So I thought, well, that's the worst possible time to kickstart it. So we delayed. And for those of you that are already members, like for those of you who have enrolled and joined me with the Foundry, keep the time slot open if you're available this coming Saturday. I think we're going to aim for 3 p.m. East Coast time. So that's noon, 12 noon, I think, California time. So, again, you know where to find me if you need to get in touch. And I will be sending you guys a link so you can join me on Saturday about 3 p.m. But today I really just wanted to, because I had said somewhere, a couple places, that we would broadcast on Wednesdays. So I want to stick to that, at least for this week. But I think today I'm just going to stream. I know Eric may be tuning in, although I think he's at work. Any of the rest of you who tune in, like feel free, please leave me your reactions, leave your comments, but look for wherever you're watching. There should be a link from StreamYard.com. And if you click on that link before you comment, that will allow the software to see your name. And that way I know who's commenting. Yeah, so I just came from our copywriting call with Jason Leagard and the Warrior team. And this week, my homework yet again is this book. We Live by a Code, kind of working through, completing the launch curriculum, but I'm working through my old homework and stacks and all the work I've done climbing up these 4 summits. So kind of looking back at my learning journey with the Warrior operating system and with living by a code. What does it mean to live by a code? And for those of you joining me, Saturday, I think, can you see this? I was gonna pull this out, but this is the giant secrets trilogy from Russell Brunson. So which way? There we go. I think they start from the bottom. .com secrets, expert secrets, traffic secrets, and then unlock the secrets is the workbook. But you guys have access to, I think, all of those 3 audiobooks inside Warrior. If you're in the programs I'm in, if you're in launch, then you get access to the whole Warrior Wealth Library. But I also recommend you grab the box. We'll really be looking at expert secrets a lot, but more about that later. Today, I don't know where to begin, but I guess I want to start with the why. Why are you here? For those of you who enter the Foundry platform, this is I'm still making sure we get all the kinks ironed out, and we'll be setting up kind of an automated email sequence to really take you step by step through the onboarding process and prompt you to do what needs to be done. But sort of the first assignment I have for those of you on the inside is similar to Warrior. I want you to come introduce yourself. I mean, we've got over 20 members. This is a community I have been building since I guess we've been with Workplace since early 2018, I think. But so if you would, when you enter this dojo, as I call it, please introduce yourself, just whether it's live or not, but I'd really appreciate a video introduction from each of you and just share, who are you, but also the why. Why are you here? Why are you part of this, like, climbing the 4 summits experience? Why are you interested to be a part of, an accelerated business incubator classroom with me? I've been sharing with you Warrior Brothers in particular a lot about how I want to focus on the Summit 4 curriculum, which is going through these kind of click funnels. I mean, learning how to offer creation, learning the process of sales. Garrett's got his strategic seduction sequence. We'll be going through Russell Brunson's expert secrets. It takes you through a lot of kind of like building a movement and a very similar customer journey, I would say, to, it ties up nicely with strategic seduction. And then learning how to get better with copywriting, learning how to build your sales funnels, and basically how to create your own movement, how to seduce and lead your customers through a process, a customer experience with your business. So what is it that interests you? Why have you come to me? Why are you part of, whether it's the Warrior Acceleration Group, where we've been kind of going through the Wake Up Warrior Challenge and the summits together, or whether it's my private classroom here with the Foundry? Why? Why are you here? Um, what what area for you? I think for most of us right now, it is predominantly business, but what particular thing in business, or maybe it's another of those four pillar areas, what area of your life needs to change to unlock and like propel you to the next level of your game in business? And then specifically, what are you working on? If you have a particular business idea, a concept that you're trying to prove, or if you have a campaign or a new uh, service or product that you're trying to launch, then definitely share that with us. That's what we're here for. It's just like to share with a business focus, but also encompassing all four areas, because they all impact our business in a big way. Please do drop in here and submit a video of your own, introduce yourself. But I will lead by example today. And yeah, I just want to share, like, so for me, why have I got so crazy about Warrior? And why, here, let me see if I can find. Okay, so we are broadcasting in the Facebook group, but I think there's a problem. I still need to figure out my back end with Workplace, but we will get it in time for Saturday, guys. But let me drop this in here. And for those of you who pay close attention, you will have already seen this, but I wrote, what is it, almost 3 weeks ago now, at the very end of July, we had a 4-day boot camp with Coach Garrett. And I was, I believe, one of the first 25 or 30 people who completed the test and passed, and entered the gates. And I'm part of the Warrior Trainer kind of mentorship program now with Coach Garrett and the whole team. But yeah, I am officially Warrior Trainer certified. I'll pull up the actual certificate another time and show you guys. But when I first announced it, kind of to my audience, I said I bled 5 years for this. And just kind of going through the protocols. We live by a code. We attack with the stack. We shield with the core. I said we seek, knock, and ask at the door, and we win impossible games. So why did I spend 5 years? Why have I invested like $25,000 with Garrett J. White? Why was it so important to me to let me see if I can show you the certificate. I know I posted it somewhere recently. Internet's a little slow today. Thought I did. Where did I put that? Maybe it's on Instagram. Oh, but that's not going to show for you. Okay, come on. It's somewhere here. It's somewhere here. Give me a second. Here we go. So here it is, the certificate. Why does this? It's so important to me, so meaningful, and I'm sure to a lot of people, it's like doesn't mean anything. But for me, like I wrote here, yeah, it was years of blood, sweat, and tears. And why? Why Warrior? Why did I decide that this was so important that I had to chase this achievement, and race to the, well, it wasn't a race. It was a slow and steady 5 years building my way up to the summit, the peak, getting certified so that I can then turn around and use these frameworks and this system and teach it to you guys. Teach it in my own way, make it my own, adapt it, kind of white label it, and repurpose all the amazing value, the gold that Garrett and the many, many thousands of men of Warrior have created and refined over the years. I mean, I think he's been at it for at least 13, 14 years himself. But my journey didn't just start with Warrior, but I encountered Warrior back in, I want to say it was actually probably late 2015 when my good friend Ian first mentioned it to me, or when I may have stumbled across something of Garrett's, but I don't think I took a closer look until mid or late 2016, and I wish I had a copy. But yeah, my friend Ian, he was one of the first to get his hands on the Black Book or the Warrior Book when it was like the $1,000. I think there was a special name for it. I forget what it was, but it was like you open it up and it had a video screen. So it was basically a computerized, kind of almost an ebook, but it was like a full color, gorgeous um, screen, and it had a whole series of video trainings programmed in, and so it was the entire content of the original Warrior Book, entirely in video format, which we do have access to, and I can share with those of you who haven't seen it. But I remember when he first showed that to me and shared with me, and we were in Thailand, actually in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and sitting at I think it actually was a Starbucks, funny enough, of all the beautiful cafes in Chiang Mai. Like, it's one place that has a great cafe culture. But I think we may have been in a Starbucks in the mall. Anyhow, I just remember like seeing this thing and the quality of it, and I was like, holy shit, blown away. And he had been telling me, I had been sharing with him. I mean, so I've been, hunting the buffalo. I've been running my own show, an entrepreneur in some fashion or another since 2006. And I quit my job in 2007, and I was working for a college of business at my university. I didn't get a business degree, but I worked for the college of business for 3 years as a student, job. And then for about a year and a half, I think, as a full-time staff. I was actually right under the dean. So that was a huge exposure to business and entrepreneurship for several years. And then I just decided to go out on my own, and I started as a developer. Really, I mean, I was writing and blogging about everything I was learning. Being surrounded by this business school environment and all these business professors, and watching lots of entrepreneurs, and I was attending events throughout Sacramento, but also especially the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, California. Always going to entrepreneurship events, and so that's. I mean, I started, yeah, back in 2000. Well, 2007 was when I went full time, all on my own. So that's been, almost 14 years. Is that right? My math is horrible. What is that? No, it's more than that. 2023, 16, almost 17 years. So, but 5 or 6 years ago, yeah, late 2016, I had been sharing with my buddy Ian about this new direction that I desired to go. And I guess for the 10 years prior to that, I had built a kind of a name for myself, or a reputation. Really, I had built up this movement of digital nomads. That's what I became a part of, and I became very passionate for a decade to spread that lifestyle, that message. And I mean, I've done all kinds of things. Started from WordPress developer to marketing consultant. I mean, I did a lot of just building sales pages, both for my own products, but also helping many other entrepreneurs kind of put their products out there and do product or service launches. And then I ended up basically kind of taking everything I learned being at the School of Business at my uni, and combined it with just all partnered with a lot of friends I had that were in the startup scene, in the entrepreneurial scene, and we created what we called the Digital Nomad Academy. And so it was kind of my own, you know, cheap online virtual business school. Um, I mean, not that it was super inexpensive or anything, but compared to a real MBA, of course. But I ended up working with over 3,000 people over, yeah, nearly 10 years. And, so I'm not a Garrett J. White. I still am not. But I guess I do have a lot of experience. And I dabbled in, I don't know how many different business uh, models, revenue models myself over the years. I had a real passion for events, putting together retreats, conferences, workshops, seminars. I did a lot of those over the years and, across 4 continents. And in 2013, I went down to South America, to Chile, Santiago, Chile, and was part of one of the founding members putting together kind of an alternative to higher education, something we called Exosphere. And it was just, like a institute of technology and entrepreneurship. And I really thought that was my path at that time, until I discovered I was going to be a father. And my now wife, although at the time she was not, she just, out of the blue, I received a picture of a sonogram. And it was kind of like a surprise, you're going to be a dad. And so I had a baby coming on the literal opposite side of the world. I was in Chile working with 5 or 6 mentees, and then in Colombia after that, 2013, 2014. And I had to make my way back around the world to come meet my son face to face for the first time. But that's a whole other story to unpack, maybe for another time. That was a big part of my journey, obviously, becoming a father, and the challenges. I mean, it was an unexpected gift, and at first it kind of shook up my world like a hurt like a earthquake, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Um, Although, it's like that was my destiny too. It's like what I've learned now is, I mean, my kids are the light of my life, like I really love being a dad. So anyhow, before I get off on too much of a tangent about Christopher, I'll share the story of Christopher and his birth and all that adventure another time. But I guess I was struggling as a nomad. Like, I was essentially living abroad for, I don't know, 10 years, I think, already at that point. And then and juggling business, and add this unexpected child on the way on the other side of the world. And I had to pull out of this partnership I was in with these guys in America, Exosphere, and kind of lost everything. And I had to, I mean, I didn't lose everything, but I guess I abandoned that's the life where I put all my eggs in that basket in order to, it's like I had to work and kind of make a couple stops to get back around to Asia and finally meet Chris and reunite with Jam, who, again, it's like we went through a really rocky couple years, kind of not knowing at first, what the hell we're gonna do. I didn't even know whether we would have any chemistry or any future between us. But I guess by that was 2014, February 2014, my son was born, and 2.5, 3 years later, it had been a really difficult time. We were managing to make it work, but yeah, it also just totally changed my um, what's the word? my focus, my values and principles, and I started thinking. I think I always thought about the long term, but I started thinking much more about it. Legacy and about how my life, what I'm building, how it will impact my kids. And so in 2016, I got this crazy idea in my head. I don't remember where exactly it came from or when it struck, but I think I was just tired of the digital nomad scene for reasons I'll explain on another time. But I felt like there's a lot of bullshit, a lot of fucking bullshit artists, and the lifestyle design and whatever realm is kind of, thanks Tim Ferriss for your 4 hour shortcuts, and everybody wants to hack and cheat their way to success. So anyways, I got tired and burnt out with that, but I said in early 2016, I guess I said internally, at least to God, that like I want to do something more meaningful. And I felt after 16 years already at that point, because I studied my degree I got was in religious studies actually, and I had a minor in history. And so I had been studying. I don't have it easily accessible, but our friend Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, since 2002, I guess. And yeah, 2016, I said to God, like, I want to lead men on their hero's journey. I felt called to take what I had been doing with nomads and kind of leading and guiding all these thousands of students through at least the beginning stages of building their own small businesses, and finding services and products that they could provide the marketplace. But I was really drawn to, well, Jordan Peterson and psychology and faith and like belief systems and how people think and operate. And so I felt called to, and still do to this day, by the way, but like, yeah, it was 2016. I really started sharing with my wife and started sharing with friends, at least behind the scenes, that like I wanted to sell DNA, Digital Nomad Academy, and totally change the game, and start leading men on the hero's journey. And so I started to call some of my events like Heroic Escape. We had this 5-day getaway in Thailand, and Hero Summit and these different things. And I think I'd been sharing with this friend Ian, and he said to me, like, dude, I think, I kept sharing, like, I want to lead men on their hero's journey. And it was kind of a big, somewhat ambiguous idea. I mean, for a long time, I was trying to narrow in on, like, what the hell is it really that I'm called to do? What specifically, I've always felt called, like, there's some really big purpose that I feel I'm here for, and it's hard to distill it. But my buddy Ian, he said, he shared this book with me, and he's like, I think this is like what you're dreaming up. And I was like, holy crap, when I really encountered the inner teachings that Garrett was leading guys on through Wake Up Warrior, I said to Ian, I was like, holy shit, yes, this guy fucking built the business I'm dreaming of, you know. And I think in late 2017, he sent me, a hard copy of the original Warrior book as kind of a wedding gift. We got married October 2017. And I probably didn't really crack it open till December, January 2018, but I started to rely on it almost religiously, I will say, for a time. And this isn't the same one, but like it was like almost every day I was like, it was my Bible, and I would just open it up and read maybe one chapter, There's pretty short chapters in that original volume, and it's a thick one. So I was like, this is my Bible. Every day I would get up and I would work on my, you know, the earliest version of my core four. It's funny too, because yeah, in 2015, I remember I've been hosting these retreats in Thailand in Krabi about 5 6 times, and see, I was searching all this time for how the structure and the frames, I guess, to organize a really chaotic life. Because as a nomad, I mean, it sure was fun, but it's like I had been to, I don't know, 40 countries now and met so many countless thousands of people. I've probably forgot more people than I'll ever be able to remember. They say your brain is really designed to like know like 300 people tops, right? And I look at my Facebook profile even today, like I got rid of 2/3 of it, and it's still almost close to 1,000 people. But anyhow, in all my travels, like I've just interacted with so many people, had so many wild adventures, and I mean, I would never trade it for anything. But at the same time, so much overwhelm that it was a blur in many ways. And I mean, especially when I kind of first had Chris and started to settle down and start to build a family life, it was just such a huge change for me because I had been used to this always go 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 lifestyle, this all like minimalist, and I didn't own very much, let alone a home. It was just always like living out of hotels or rentals and living out of a backpack and tons of fun and meeting tons of friends, but it was always a blur. And then I guess it all caught up with me eventually, and I realized, especially like just be like the task of becoming a father was so different, so unanticipated, so challenging. And then it's like I had to figure out, okay, now I got to build a different career or business around this new lifestyle as a father, as a family man, and being much more. At the time, I thought we were gonna look for more stability. I guess we're still looking for. It's like since 2017, I said like, man, I want to be somewhere where our family can have roots, right? And so we tried Thailand for a little while, although she's Filipina, I'm American, and our kids are not, Thai nationals, so that became a problem. And so then we went back to California for a year and a half, tried that and failed. Then we went back to the Philippines, and that went really well, actually. We built a great business there, but then we were just destroyed by, well, it was a 1 2 3 punch of COVID, shut down my brick and mortar business, and what do you call it? Hurricane Odette like wiped us out in a big way, and etc. So we came back here last year and spent a year and a half in America again, setting up a life here in North Carolina. But now business has called my wife back to the Philippines. So again, I'm getting off track, but we've had this it's funny because I really want to create stability for my kids. Like that means so much to me, but I'm still like on this I'm still hunting for like where is the place? We still haven't found it because I got my family in California, mama's family in the Philippines, and so I mean we had a good thing going on here, but there's no family anywhere nearby on the East Coast. And the reason I moved out here, which was my buddy Ian, he's moved. So anyhow, I've been on a journey to like figure out, okay, how do I build the new life for my kids predominantly, and so Warrior, as I peeled back the layers, I was like, wow, this really gives me all the frameworks, the blueprints to build a life. And I think for maybe for a lot of people, like you get that somewhere else, or it's not like rocket science, But for me, coming from this chaotic, I mean, fun, but chaotic background of just being all over the world and almost feeling at times like my heart and my mind are like a blur, a smear across the whole globe, like in some ways, um, it's helped me just like integrate and get my brain together, which is an ongoing process, but start to build something that will last on solid foundations. So the other side of the coin, though, was just like the kind of psychological element to what Garrett was doing. I knew instantly, when I saw it, that like, yeah, this is kind of. I mean, it was an advanced version, but it was like, yeah, that's exactly what I feel called to create. In 2015, 16, I think I started in 2014, but for 3 or 4 years, yeah, I was doing these adventure retreats. And I mean, I would take people climbing up mountains and we would jump off waterfalls and we would go sea kayaking. We do, rock climbing, rappelling from these giant cliffs and caving in the dark. I mean, all kinds of fun adventure out in Thailand, especially. And it wasn't quite like the boot camp style carrying logs as Warrior Week, but I think it had a very similar intention, which is to kind of push people to sometimes to their limit and expect more from them, and break them out of their normal environment big time, right? Like go to the opposite side of the world for some wild adventure where there's a foreign language, foreign culture, foreign food, foreign religion, etc. You see these temples, you're surrounded by these giant Buddha statues, everyone's speaking Thai, and like nobody shakes hands. They do the Y and they bow. And I mean, I love Thailand. Still to this day, it's probably my favorite country. But so I felt like in some ways I had a lot in common with Garrett, and I think I had been on that same journey. I guess I'm sharing that because I remember, yeah, I was 2016 actually, sharing on the beach with some of my attendees for one of these entrepreneurial retreats in Krabi. I remember mapping it out. Like I was trying to figure out what's the framework, for life, like the different realms of life. Because as an entrepreneur, I was struggling before I even had the language of warrior that Garrett uses. It's like before I even called it that. It was the what does he say? Now I'm forgetting the trifecta of insanity. Like, yeah, trying to juggle business and marriage and kids. All of this was new. All of this was kind of dumped in my lap. I felt, at least. I mean, it was my fault ultimately. I will take the responsibility, but it felt like all this fell in my lap really suddenly, and I was really unprepared. And I mean, I had, that, okay, let's go, let's do this attitude, but I mean, I still had no idea how much I had to learn. But I remember, yeah, being on the beach at one of my last retreats, mapping it out. Um, I think it was for Marco, and maybe Gary was there. But anyhow, I think I had come to almost the same, framework as the core four. I called it the four pillars. And it's something I discovered, studying Buddhism and Hinduism and different religious, kind of mostly religious slant, but also just in personal development. I mean, I think you see it in Expert Secrets. Russell Brunson talks about, well, he talks about health, wealth, and relationships. So I've called it mindset, health, wealth, and relationships, the four pillars. And I always started with, I guess, what Garrett calls being, kind of the the inner world of your beliefs, your spirituality, and your mindset, what you believe. Um, but, so I first got my hands on the Warrior book, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, there was a lot of overlap. I think I'd already kind of started to uncover that framework for, like, yeah, how can I maintain the game across all areas, and so I was starting to uncover my own almost mini core four before I think I even got into Warrior. But I came in and I was like, whoa, he's got that figured out, and he's got so much more. And it was June 2018. Yeah, I enrolled for the King's Kit, or the King's Challenge. And I would love to share that with you guys, but that was like a 30-day deep dive challenge with Garrett and Coach Sam and Jeremy Finley back in the day. But from the beginning, I mean, so the whole experience, obviously it's drawn me in more and more, and I've invested a lot. And I guess I've risen, fairly high in the ranks, of just programs I'm involved in. And now here I am, I'm a certified trainer. This is kind of the round 2 certified trainer program. There was a much more simplified program back in 2016, 17, I guess. But I mean, I've done the work. I've I've probably read this book like 6 times now, in each of the 5 or 6 books, over and over and over. I've been through the curriculum in different formats. I mean, I've been in the game long enough to see 3 different back-end dashboards. But why? So why have I stayed in it so long? Well, I got so excited because I was like, this guy's on to something. And I knew before I had even come into Warrior that I was after, like, this connection. And I didn't even know that it was maybe as spiritual as I guess I think it is now. Um, but I just thought, like, this hero's journey, like, yeah, help encourage people to be all that they can be. I mean, I was saying, seek truth, chase greatness, and live fully. Those were kind of my 3 bullet points and commitments for a very long time. And so as I got away from the digital nomad thing and just the straight up business services training that I used to do, I really thought, like, um, I had to devote myself to learning psychology and maybe therapy, and um, but I started to look into men's work. And anyway, then this guy Garrett comes along, and I was like, holy crap, he's really figured something out here. And I was seeing the transformation, the success stories, the case studies. And I guess our first rule in Warrior is trust the process. Um, the second rule is details matter. Let me see if I can remember them all. The third one is be here now. The fourth rule of Warrior is don't ever quit. And the fifth rule of Warrior is help your brother. So, but the first one, trust the process. Again, it kind of resonates because I've just learned over the years, again, even as I was coming into Warrior, it just resonated so much because, in a sense, I had developed my own faith, my own belief system of just, like, trust the journey, the hero's journey, and this journey that, like, God, or at that time, I wasn't quite as maybe Christian in my outlook, but, like, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I knew that I was being led in some sense by a higher power, and I had developed my chops with just learning to trust that, and almost to live and walk in faith. Um, so even still, I always remind myself, trust the journey, trust your journey that you're on, your calling. God is guiding you. I firmly believe, towards something. Um, so warrior is not the only path, but this was something that from very early on, I guess almost immediately, it was obvious to me that Garrett and the men he's built this with, they have really discovered some, I think, some laws of the universe. And I mean, he has said himself, it's like he didn't create this stuff, he uncovered it or discovered it, similar to how I started to unearth some of these things too, these principles. It's like they're principles you'll find if you go searching anywhere, across different cultures, different religions. But warrior takes it all and creates just very straightforward frameworks, and has kind of a holistic integrated system for living your life. And so it was exactly what I needed as this nomad who had fatherhood just kind of dumped in my lap and no idea where to even begin, and this chaotic life. And I found that, like, my plan wasn't working. I had to leave the situation in Chile and things fell apart, and then didn't really have a plan for making an income once that pro- project fell apart. And so I had to just trust the process. I just do the work in front of me, just I would read that chapter a day. I would do the exercises, answer the questions. I would focus on my core four and just taking care of myself, nourishing myself, like body, being, balance, and business. Just little investments every day, and that pulled me through some really, really insanely difficult times. But it was 20. I guess it was early 2017, like right around the holidays, New Year 2017. Again, I don't want to go too in depth, but I encountered, how do I put it? I just some dark web shit, like, also fell in my lap out of the blue. It's not that I was going to seek that out, but some basically child torture films and really ugly stuff leapt out at me from my wife's, like, online world. Actually, it was stuff that was being passed around amongst her friend circle, and I sadly witnessed some things that I will never unsee. And I guess it was, it hit too close to home because it was like not a friend, but an acquaintance of an acquaintance of an acquaintance, like a couple degrees away. These these young Filipino women who had been drawn into and involved in child sexual trafficking and satanic abuse. And I think, from what I've discovered, like, the mastermind of this whole procurement organization, at least, was doing really heinous, unthinkable, just horrific, satanic stuff. And when I discovered this on it was my laptop that I purchased for Jam. But when I discovered this stuff in her messages from her friends, broke my brain, and I didn't know what to think of it at first. I mean, I went full on paranoid. I had a little 2.5-year-old at the time, and I didn't really know whether I could trust the mother of my child back then, and didn't understand why this was in her inbox, where it had come from, what her relation was to that world. And it's funny, like, I mean, now everyone is talking about this Sound of Freedom movie, right? And there's Operation Underground Railroad. We got nonprofits that are, like, fighting child trafficking, which is great. It's like I've been a big supporter of theirs for a couple years. But I saw that stuff way, way back before even anyone had heard the name Jeffrey Epstein. It was like 2.5 years before Epstein killed himself. I experienced that, and I so that fucking destroyed me. And I mean, I did the bare minimum at least to show up and still be a dad, and was still the sole provider for Jam and Chris at that time. But like I was spinning so many plates with my business and different things I had going on, and living abroad and not having any family support, and and also just not being married and not really understanding or knowing my partner that well, and it all fell apart. And I had a hard time even getting out of bed, for a year at least, because my soul was just fucking crushed, seeing people, knowing that there are some people out there so desperate that they get to a place where they're willing to hurt and sacrifice their own children or other people's. But some people do these horrible things to their own children just to survive, really, just to earn a living. And so I really, really struggled with a crisis of faith, I guess. And I was angry as fuck at God. And I was questioning whether God could even exist in this world that's so full of evil and so corrupt. And meanwhile, I just ignored my work and let things fall apart, and like my inbox. I mean, I still haven't caught up with my inbox from 2016 or 17 to all the way, but I had to let a lot go. I had to let a lot of stuff burn to the ground. And we were living in Thailand. I mean, and life was beautiful in 2016, but then it all fell apart. And I remember getting piss drunk. I think I was drinking vodka actually, or something horrible. And I remember like, no, maybe it was gin because I was a gin and tonic person for a long time. But I remember like finishing the bottle and like being out at 3 or 4 in the morning in the dark, all alone, and I was like out on the street somewhere I really should not have been, in a foreign country alone at that hour. But I called my fucking dad on the phone. I don't remember if I actually spoke to him live or if I left a message, but I remember I was just fucking bawling my eyes out. And it's like it all caught up with me, and I had to admit that, like, Dad, I have no clue what to do. All this stuff is falling apart. Business had come to a halt, and I couldn't pay the bills. And and I finally had to admit, that like I couldn't um, make ends meet, couldn't pull this off, couldn't make the life work, and I had to give up in a sense. And so that was when yeah, for the first time, I not the first time, but that was when I called it quits on Thailand. I was like, so I had my heart set on living in Thailand and trying to find a way to bring this woman along with me and our son, before we were even married. But I guess that was the beginning of me like accepting the truth. That was not maybe not the telling the truth part, but the accepting the truth of like where I was wrong and where I was incapable and where I was insufficient. And And then there was a good 2 years at least of real hard times, real scarcity. I mean, we were on welfare for a little while, and yeah, it was a hard journey. But having the frameworks of Warrior, honestly, is what got me through. Um, it's what kept me from like going and finding a gun to just pull the trigger and say sayonara to everybody. At the beginning when I mean, I was really in a deep, dark abyss in my mind, in my soul. B- Um, but and then just yeah, like it got me through the hard times of like whatever. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but I remember getting like $500 cash a month, I think, from the food stamps, WIC or whatever they call it, just to get diapers and food for my kids. And that was just like embarrassing and shameful that time. But again, I had my work cut out for me. I had my daily tasks. I had the things I knew I should be studying, and so I just did the work, and I just did what was in front of me, and I took one little step every day, and I just never fucking quit. So Warrior gave me this operating system that took me through, PTSD when I was diagnosed with this trauma diagnosis, and I was trying to find therapists unsuccessfully. I think I did go see one for a couple of months, and I mean, I guess it was worth doing, but I was getting so much more out of just my own studies and stacking. And then I would share the stacks with her, this therapist, and I would share my stories. And she was always blown away. She was like, "You're really, what's the word she used? Self-aware. You're really self-aware." And da 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 da. But the stack, the self-journaling process is what ultimately helped me dig out of this pit of hell. And so it gave me this operating system, this set of tools to use on a daily basis to, like, no matter how down I was feeling, or if I felt defeated by life at times, or like in the process of building a business, even still, I mean, regularly, at least once a week, there's times where I'm like, I don't know if any of this is all going to really pan out, if this will work, or if I've gone so far out on a limb and I'm a fucking lunatic. You lose temporarily, you lose faith in yourself from time to time, or your own plans, and so it's very difficult to be your own boss, to be an entrepreneur, to be self-employed, and because you don't have someone telling you specifically and authoritatively, like, do this, do this, do this. But Warrior gave me the frames to figure that out for myself, and to just to develop consistency and discipline with the things that deep down I know I should be doing. And with the game frameworks, it's like it does really help you figure out how to set an agenda and targets for yourself, and like how to authoritatively push yourself on a consistent daily basis. So I think, I mean, the frameworks, the structure, it gives you a scaffolding to build your life upon, which can be useful to anyone, but I think particularly for digital nomads, if you're someone who, it is a ton of fun. And I mean, I guess our family, we just can't quit. We're going to keep being nomads. I love to travel, but if that's the life you choose to pursue, I do know through experience, through like 16 years of experience, it can be really difficult to not have the stability of like a home, right? Or like regular people that you always see consistently, or regular routines. And so if you're traveling, if you're a nomad, or even if it's just like every couple of months, if you relocate, I think this system is really phenomenal in that case, because it helps ground you, and gives you a concrete set of frameworks or a blueprint for to build your life, your, in the grand scheme of things, like from where you are to where you want to go, but also just down to the nitty gritty daily details of like, how do you execute on a daily basis in a way that that your efforts are all kind of stacking on top of each other, towards your desired outcome. So I knew from an early exposure to the system, like, okay, this is a really great set of principles and frameworks to build your life and a business on. But then it was through, the actual execution, like my own learning, my own experience going through the Warrior Challenge, going through the summits curriculum, going through. I mean, I've been part of so many things, but one of them, there's some great questions that both Garrett and Sam Falsafi asked throughout this whole journey that I've been on, that help open my mind to new possibilities, or make me, give me a new perspective to kind of look at life in a different way, expanded way. And all in all, the biggest impact it has had for me over these last few years is just, it's what church should be. It's what I've always been seeking, and I could never quite put my finger on what that is, but it's something I've never found anywhere else. You can't find it in church. But inside Warrior, we're all a part of it. So I'm there holding the space for this, and facilitating this, and I've been a pretty deep part of it, obviously becoming a certified trainer, but like everybody participates, and it creates this sacred ground almost, where we're all devoted to, like nobody executes perfectly, okay? We're all flawed human beings, but we all have a shared agenda, that like we're pursuing truth. We're working towards living in the truth. That's what it is. It's just like we all have a shared orientation towards truth. So that may be a little abstract, but that, like that's the magic. You will not find it in church, because that they're not people are not actually willing to embrace the truth in a radical way. Inside Not inside any church I've been, not yet. Let me know, guys, but I haven't found one. And it's very rare to find any leader, but especially a pastor, who leads from the truth as courageously and transparent and vulnerably as Garrett does. I think that's what draws me to him, and a lot of people to him. And so I'll just share briefly so it has impacted my philosophy, my life philosophy, in that when I really, like, at first, it's not how you're going to see it. Most of you probably don't see it this way, but with time, I started to recognize that what draws me to Garrett it's inarguable that he is comfortable with the truth, like he's comfortable opening up his life and his reality and sharing his facts, even though, I mean, a lot of them are impressive to me, to many of us. The guy lives in like a $25 million mansion on the beach, right? But a lot of them are and have been ugly too, or painful, and he shares all that stuff from a vulnerable place as well, about how he cheated on his wife years ago, or the challenges he's gone through with his son. He had like a long lost son kind of situation for 16 years. He was not involved very much in his son's life. um it's in the little examples in my experience, but I think I started to recognize there is this, I don't know the word for it, but there's this aura, this energy, around a guy who tells the truth and owns the truth, and like is not afraid to say what he means or to share uncomfortable things, and like someone who's really living in the truth. And so, and I just thought, he's got this fearlessness and drive, and in some way, maybe I still have yet to unpack it, but I think those are all so related. And and so really I just started to follow the guy, like mimic Garrett in a sense. Like, okay, how can, I mean, I'm not gonna live up to the same standard, but it's also why I really like looking back at some of his older stuff. But like, I just knew, okay, well, he's telling us how he built out of his pit, so just follow the steps. Just follow from where I'm at today. What are the little things I can do to to develop my muscles, if you will, like telling the truth, or looking at the truth, accepting the truth, and in all different ways, like how, what are little consistent ways to build your inner foundations, I mean, strength, certainty, courage, vulnerability, all those kind of character traits. And so I think both inside and outside, Warrior has given me this roadmap to follow, where it's just all about, it's about the little daily investments that I can make, that I've committed to make, that over time, you look back, and with consistency, you can recognize, okay, yeah, I'm building the fucking walls, of my fortress, metaphorically. I'm building the kingdom inside myself, in my character, day by day. It's like every day you wake up and you choose to do the hard things. You choose to exercise discipline and consistency with whatever you're committed to. You keep building yourself as a man. You keep building your character, your certainty. And so it's been what, 5 years since my huge trauma experience, and I'm a completely different man, thank God. And it's been probably almost 3 years. I think I've been playing the game of Warrior, just like the whole system, and like um, doing the core four, stacking, tracking my metrics, and gradually committing to, keeping consistently better scores. And it's not about perfection, but it's about consistency. But after 3 years now, looking back, I mean, I'm fucking unstoppable now, and certainty wise, clarity about where I'm going and what I want. Um, Life still surprises me. My wife flew to the Philippines last week with my kids. And it didn't come as a surprise, but she, 6 months ago, decided that she wanted to move back to the Philippines, and I was really pissed off about that at first. And I guess I've come to accept it and almost support it. Almost, I think she's right. I see her reasoning, and she has good reason to be there, at least for now, business wise. But um, visitor. Now I'm gonna lose my train of thought. So it's just given me this ability to sail through, stormy seas, no matter what life throws at us. And so this month, I'm kind of going monk mode and focused on finishing the launch curriculum. Hopefully, get out to Dana Point to Warrior headquarters. I think in October, early October, if I can make it work. Um, but sorry, that really threw me off. I have a visitor come ring the doorbell. I should wanted to. She's right there. Bye. Anyways, whoever's watching, leave a comment. If you guys, especially Eric, if it's you, let me know, man. I'm not sure if the broadcast is quite working as I had anticipated, because I'm not seeing any feedback. But if you guys have questions, please do, feel free to type in, and if I see them before I wrap up my spiel, I'll try to address them. Anyhow, I guess my point sharing that is just like, it's been so impactful having this system for me. It really helped me get back on track with Eric, with it helped me get back on track with my life, after PTSD, which almost, I mean, it was that close to taking me out. I wouldn't say that I was quite suicidal, because like I knew I never wanted to abandon my son. I couldn't. But I was just like non-responsive for a while, and just like beyond depressive, like hopeless. I was just stuck in this deep, like, I don't know, existential, like, I don't even know the word. I can't think of it right now, but um, I was able to pull myself out thanks to having this system. And now, not only have I like climbed and clawed my way out of this fucking abyss of hell, and like I finally broke through to see the light of day again. I don't know, probably just earlier this year or late last year. But now I know that I also have a brotherhood behind me and all these resources and kind of framework to keep going as I climb the mountain in building my business. And that's the part that like I really want to share with many of you brothers, that have been inside Shelter and Shield, or a couple of you in Launch now. You've been doing this for a couple of years. You're trying to, okay, how do I maybe quit my job, and start my own thing? Or how do I increase my earnings, if you've already got a freelance business or a side hustle? Or maybe you own some of you tuning in the Facebook group, I think might have your own practice of one kind or another. Um, I think Garrett has put together just some of the best roadmaps I've ever seen. I mean, I certainly know, like, even if you just did the ClickFunnels path, even if you don't like the software, but if you just follow his Secrets trilogy, that alone I've been through most of that now and guided my teams through a lot of that as we've been kind of learning and tinkering and playing with sales funnels ourselves for the Visa business. And I mean, I've in 16 years of doing entrepreneurship and online business, I've never found a better roadmap than what Russell put together. But then you also add everything else that Garrett brings to it and the kind of collection of mentors that he's roped in, and it's flawless. So I mean, I was going to there's some resources that we've been getting, not only through this is a ClickFunnels book, but stuff related to the trainer program that I'm doing with Garrett and the team that I want to share with you guys on Saturday. I got Alex Hormozzi's other book here. You guys, many of you tuned in last Saturday for his $100 million leads. We'll be going through the original. Start with $100 million offers, but seeing what he put together and the free resources he put out on Saturday was like blew me away. It's like, so we'll definitely be incorporating some of that as we march forward together in the year ahead. But I think that the 4 Summits curriculum honestly gives just it kind of puts it all together in a way that makes sense more than anything I have ever seen out there on the market. And so I would love to help guide you guys no matter where you're at. Like, I'll help plug you in the right spot, for your journey. But I really just encourage it seems silly at first. It might seem like a waste of time, but do the fucking core 4 and learn to stack. Because if those are the first 2 things that you must do, I'm telling you, you must do them. if you want to have the certainty and build your inner kingdom like I have, well, you better fucking do your core 4 and start stacking. So that's step 1. And then we can start to have a much bigger conversation. And I mean, there's so much, so many things I'd love to share with you guys about, just developing your leadership skills and expanding your mindsets as a leader. And how do you turn around and take, the struggles and hardships you've been through and unpack them and, take the lesson and teach to people who follow you or your clients and customers. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue tied. So Saturdays moving forward, I think we will strive to meet most likely about 3 p.m. Eastern time Saturdays, and kind of like, I want to host the small group and start to probably bring, like, one thing we'll do is we'll do marketing and copywriting. So I'll probably like share my screen and do some AI generated stuff like we've done before. Get out the tablet, present, draw out some things for you guys. But we'll get the small group in the Foundry together on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Comment below if that does or does not work for you. Wednesdays, I'll probably come on and just live stream. Like, if you guys are able to come and comment, maybe jump on once in a while, that'd be great. But I'm going to share like what I'm working through. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to go back to the beginning and like share my biggest lessons and takeaways doing the Kings Challenge, the Be the Man Challenge. That was fucking phenomenal. and then the Wake Up Warrior Challenge, which I did in February 2021. And I want to walk you through that, Eric. If you're still watching, I will. Let's chat very soon and figure out how to get on the same page and make sure we get you officially enrolled and on board with us for the next quarter or so. But yeah, like I'll be sharing the challenge and then all my video debriefs from the 4 summits over these next several weeks and coming couple months. But the long story short, without diving into too much else today, I think, next Wednesday or maybe Saturday, I'll shed more light on kind of what I have built over these last 16 years as an entrepreneur and share more about Digital Nomad Academy. If you're not familiar with that, share about my events and retreats I put on before, and share more of a blueprint for where I would like to take this with your guys' help. And again, I can't do it alone, but that much I know for sure. So I've invested years, 16 of them to be specific, and a whole lot more than just what I've put into Warrior, but probably 70 grand this last year into buying us the frameworks and the curriculum and the system that we can now make our own and reuse and repurpose and teach and almost white label in a sense. So we've got the backbone for something here, and I want to share and shed a lot more light on my roadmap for like how I want to basically create a warrior powered startup incubator, right? So as I'm figuring these things out, I'll be sharing, leading by example, step by step, how I'm rebuilding my business, and then I'll help you guys step by step figure your offer, your if you're ready to build sales pages, work on sales copy, marketing copy, and I would like to lead the more advanced ones. If you, maybe Steve and a couple others, Ray, we'll be looking at the perfect webinar, strategic seduction, that process, and we'll see what we can build together, because I think there's a lot of potential to open this experience up to many, many more people. And maybe some of you, I'm looking for people who can help me with, frankly, like, I need a community manager. I probably need a video editor at some point. I need maybe a copywriter of my own. And there's probably an opportunity for, a much more high level partner to come in at some point, if it makes sense for the right person, like either a technical or a operations type person. But yeah, I think I'll save a lot of that for next week. And yeah. Sorry, I got a little distracted today with whatever, stranger coming at the door. And I'm just a little flighty. Thank you guys for being patient with me this week as I kind of figure out all the little pieces to onboarding you, and just saying goodbye to my kids was like a lot harder this week than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I've just been processing all the feelings and emotions and trying to really stack a lot. But I look forward to seeing all you guys and, having your support as well. So hopefully Saturday, I look forward to meeting whoever can join us Saturday afternoon, and we'll start to dive more into like the Secrets trilogy, the Click Funnels, Sales Funnels path, strategic seduction, all that good stuff. And Eric, if you have the day off, let me know. Leave a comment. But yeah, I'll definitely connect with you. Maybe we'll do a hot seat if you can on Saturday, and and map out more specifically, like what direction you may want to go with your business. So, thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys, and Ray, make sure to reach out to me and let's get you onboarded so we can all connect on Saturday. And if anyone else is having any trouble with the Foundry, let me know. But I think that's all I got for you today. So I'll see you guys Saturday, and there'll be more from me inside the Foundry on a daily basis. So look for some shorter shares and uploads, and I will connect with you guys live on Saturday afternoon. Awesome, Eric, you'll be there. Cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you guys soon. Have a good one.